make sure your. It looks like your voice is picking up. So if anyone else has an issue with sound, let me know. Let's take a look at Master, a person that I do expect a lot out of. He is only going econ as of yet. We're probably going to see that naval tech coming out shortly. He is actually going to be the last person to build the factory on this matchup here.
Yeah, I mean, in this sort of a situation, the last thing you want to be is the person to build the factory last. We can see the purple player getting up some radar very early on indeed, which is going to get him a lot of intel around, so he's going to be able to see who's around him and who is making headway towards him, which is going to give him the good early heads up. Bringing out a Narwhal as well, which is going to give him some early anti-air capabilities. In
this map, with these small engagements, having radar is an extremely powerful advantage. They're going to know which sides they have to focus on more, whereas other players seem to just completely forget about that option and just build defenses wherever, taking time away from things that they could be doing to benefit them. Now, white is actually in a really good spawn now that I looked around. He is probably has the farthest amount of room before he has to deal with anyone, but one thing that isn't so good about white's spawn is his lack of resources around him, and that could definitely hurt him if he cannot kill someone else pretty quickly here.
Yeah, I mean, he can either sit tight and turtle up with a few defenses and wait for someone to die and then chase into their spawn. But of course, in doing so...
Did you see... Oh, I thought he was building naval there, advanced naval tech, but we are going to see a naval coming out from white. That was a little early on my part. Ooh, take a look at what dark blue is doing over here. He is actually going to start massing naval units. This is the first person with a secondary
factory. But there's a few orcas coming in from brown and a narwhal over from purple, so he is going to be surrounded, of course. This is the problem with these sort of FFA things. You've got to try and get out units fast, because if you have units against you in this sort of situation, you're on a back foot.
What? I actually missed light blue here. Light blue actually already has units out. He has doesn't have any true defenses, but he does have two factories that are constantly producing. He is just working on those blowholes, I think they're called.
Orcas, the battleships.
Oh, they are, according to the wiki. It says something else, but
yeah,
Orca
they used to be blue bottles. They changed
bottles,
their name in the Gamma patch.
No one has tried to tech it too advanced yet. One person that could probably afford to do it safely is going to be Black. Black also has a really good spawn, like White. He has a lot of room on either side, but unlike White, he has definitely a lot of resources he can do. But look at Yellow's base right now. He has just a ton of those anti-naval defenses, and they're keeping everyone at bay and just harassing Black and Red a little bit here.
Yeah, I do fear for Black, because he's not really getting up all that much in terms of offensive units. He's only got one Bumblebee out currently and a couple of, a Hummingbird and a Firefly. The Firefly isn't really great for defense. He should really be sort of using that to get intel. If he gets out some naval units, he can use that ahead and then get the Orcas full range. But at this point, I fear for Black's chances in future survival, because everybody else now has pretty much gone naval.
What? Brown, the person that spawned on the island, is going advanced air tech right away.
It is going to be interesting, because Kestrels are an absolute nightmare to T1 naval. They absolutely shred through it in numbers.
Early on, though, if he can get this out early enough, he's going to have a small advantage, but that window to use those units is going to close pretty fast. With
Red and Blue are having a commander battle on the other side of the planet, though. I do apologise for the interruption, but they did get very close there. Between Max and Master Void, Red and Light Blue.
Ooh,
they were
Red
having
and Light
a commander
Blue. Let's
duel.
take a look at that engagement here. Red's commander is pretty strong. 50% health there. And something to note about commander health is you want to keep your commander as strong as possible for as long as possible. Unlike most units where a couple seconds under a fabrication can easily heal it up, commanders have a lot of health, believe it or not. And you're going to be sitting there for a couple minutes if you want to full heal that. And those minutes could easily be spent doing better things, like building more resources, or just simply teching up.
Dark Blue's commander is inside Purple's base. He's under the base at the moment.
Is he just going to suicide detonate? I think Blue
it looks like it's going to be the case. He's going to get off an Uber cannon.
Jihad here.
Oh!
That gotta hurt. But let's take a look at
Ouch.
Dark Blue's situation here. Dark Blue's base was kind of screwed. We did get some ships incoming from Brown here that definitely did not help Blue's case, and Blue realized, you know, he's out of this game, but he's going to end it in style. He walks right into Purple's base,
Purple
and
is
GG by him.
definitely
And
on
look
the
at
back
that.
foot
Purple
now.
is definitely now back to the beginning of the game here in terms of tech and
Brown
resources.
bringing in some orcas, going to try and take off the commander, but he's so far under the water. He's having a bit of a spaz attack with his build ability there, just sort of shooting things in any general direction.
But the single anti-naval from Purple will be able to hold him off for the time being, but I don't know if he's going to be able to catch back up and return to this matchup.
Now going back to the T2 air from Brown, that's going to take quite some time to produce because he's not using his commander to assist it. He's only got the one air fabricator, so that's going to take a good 2 minutes further to finish.
Oh,
if he
easily.
finishes, if he uses his commander after that P-gen to go and assist it, then it'll go up in much shorter time. But he's also got a few idle fabricators wandering around. He's just bringing out a few air fabricators now, so if he uses those to assist...
He's just spamming more air with that commander. I don't know what his plan is. Air, even though somewhat viable early on, is after 15-20 minutes, air can easily be denied in a map like this, especially with Stingrays.
Yeah, I must say I haven't seen T2 Navy combat air at this point. I've only ever seen T1 Navy, and if you reach that critical mass of Kestrels, the Navy is just gonna die very quickly indeed.
You do have a small internet issue, you are going in and out, but normally when we do host this map, keep in mind this map is very small. We've already got our first kill, but normally in this map, I'd see someone trying to attempt advancement. But look at this, we'd have another GG. Master Void was eliminated, but surprising there. From the Blue was able to take him out with a combination of ships and anti-naval defenses.
Yeah, torpedo launchers are really quite good against
here comes
commanders.
our first advance, but that is going to get denied. White was going to go for it, but Blue is not going to let that happen. Blue is actually going to move in here. Oh no,
Those
he
orcas
changed his mind. He is
have
coming
really
back.
good range on this size of a planet, especially with some air and radar coverage that has gone up inside Max's base.
You know, if you take a look at Yellow's base right now, he is actually just pumping out massive narwhals. I'm not sure how effective a lot of narwhals are going to be. Those are fairly weak, but you know, they're just the equivalent of a Dox with an anti-air gun attached to it, as far as, you know, if you want to compare that to bot factories go. But something to keep in mind about naval units, they are a little bit more expensive, but they are definitely worth it in terms of their firepower and their armor.
And definitely, and Yellow is now getting out the T2 Navy, but the T2 Air from Brown is just on its final stages, so it'll be interesting to see what he brings out, whether it be Hornets, Kestrels, or Peregrines, or maybe even some
He
T2
could also bring
fabricators
out
for
some
eco.
fabrication, just get some catapults up. Something that is a possible strategy, keep in mind, this is more of a cheese, and I doubt we'll see it from Mangos, but it is something that we could see, is death from above lasers in this matchup.
It's always possible. I mean, it's quite often forgotten that you can still go orbital on single planet systems. I know I've done it many times, and I've just watched a game recently where a laser snipe was used in a single planet system, but we are going to see Kestrels coming out from Brown.
Someone said if I am talking, it mutes the co-commentator. White is going to try again for that advanced. He did get denied once by Light Blue, but Light Blue is else occupied right now. And look at this, it is probably a minute out right now on Yellow's advanced Navy, but if he does get that finished, he probably can't afford the time to produce a fabrication bot first. He needs to go straight into Stingrays or Leviathans to keep him off him.
Definitely the Stingrays in this map. If you have radar coverage, the Stingrays will absolutely obliterate your neighbours without you even having to move them.
Let's take a look at who all is left in this map, going by color. So first it's going to be, well, there are 6 players left. We started at 2 have already been annihilated, but let's take a look at Black first. What does Black have here? Not a lot. He has nothing.
Yeah, Black definitely doesn't have any production at the moment. He's got so many fabricators though, so he's going to get up some eco really quickly, maybe rushing some T2 after he's got this up, but of course he is getting further and further behind everybody with every second that he doesn't actually have any aggressive units
Let's take a look
out.
now to Purple. Purple is Alanori. He does have a decent amount of units up, but one thing I do worry about in purple is he has virtually no economy, and that is definitely going to slow down his production, if not almost completely halt it, and it's going to give everyone the time they need to take them. At this point, I would say that purple and black are pretty much out of the running for this match at this point.
Yeah, I'd potentially say it's a battle between white, brown, and yellow. I think light blue is getting just a little bit behind, but he does have so many anti-naval defenses that it's going to be very hard for any T2 Navy to actually get that way.
Let's take a look at the third color, which is going to be yellow here. Yellow has a lot of fabrication. He is producing some fab bots from T1, a couple orcas, some narwhals, fairly decent army comp, but he is also working on that T2 naval facility. He does have 3 fab bots there. His energy is probably right about his middle production.
Yeah, he's definitely, he has like 6 or 7 mechs at the moment, whereas everyone else seems to, well, I guess it's really sort of even. I think the person with the most mechs at the moment is light blue. There's not too much expansion between the players.
White is the next person. White is actually in a good position here, assuming he can finish that advanced tech. But if that gets denied one more time, keep in mind that was denied once before, but if this gets denied again, white is pretty much out of the running. He is quite far behind right now. He has a decent amount of economy, with the exception of metal. He has some defenses, and that's the only reason he is really still alive at this point.
Yeah, he does have an idle fabricator next to that T2 Navy, so maybe he's stalling a little bit on economy and is not using it, or maybe he's just forgotten about it, but that extra build power would help him if he's using it.
And we got final 2 people here. Brown and blue are really close together here. I don't even know what Brown's plan is. He is trying to get some kestrels out, but
I believe
that might work, actually, now that I look at it.
Yeah, I think the Kestrels are going to have a little bit of a tough time, especially in light blue, because there's so much anti-air, and Kestrels have health to the strength of paper when you talk about it.
He is moving those out. He is going to go straight for yellow here. Yellow is trying to get an anti-air, but it is going to get denied. But those narwhals did some serious damage to there, and once down, oh, he's going to lose another one, and there goes the last one, a complete waste. I think those Kestrels aren't going to make a difference in this matchup.
Yeah, I think the only place Kestrels are actually going to do any damage is between black and purple. Possibly even white at this point, because he hasn't really got much anti-air defences. But definitely a switch from T2 air, if it's not working for him, at least to T2 eco and possibly some nuking.
We talked about black earlier and how we thought he was out of the running. I mean, he's pretty far behind. It looks like he did get destroyed once or twice. But it looks like black is going to do an all or nothing here. He is trying to tech up to T2, and assuming he doesn't get attacked, you know, he might be able to somewhat come back from this. But the only way I see him winning this matchup is if he doesn't get attacked and he waits for everyone else to drop.
I mean, in this sort of a game, when you have big superpowers at this point, I'm going to call them superpowers because each of these players know they exist, so, you know, they're sort of big neighbours who you'd expect. But another thing is that people tend to neglect the poles, especially when you have pole lock on. Because it's so awkward to actually scroll to the poles, people tend not to. So I think black might have a little bit of a sort of implicit advantage there, and sort of sit in a corner and be able to build up.
Yeah, but unfortunately black is making one small mistake right here. Not really a mistake, but he's attracting attention to himself with the use of the anti-naval defenses, and, you know, yellow's not going to take any of that. He is, you know, going to go deny that, but it looks like yellow might actually be falling behind now. Brown's kestrels have come in here. Yellow did lose that advanced tech that he was building. I'm pretty sure he was building one.
Yeah, he definitely was. Maybe he cancelled it, but at this point he's getting up some more eco and some more anti-air defences after seeing those kestrels, so he is definitely being wise, but he does need to get out some more naval versus naval units at this point.
If you take a look at White's advanced facility, it looks to me like that facility is about to finish, but it's going to finish at low health, like it did sustain some damage during production.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, it might be wise to pop out an Insta Stingray afterwards. I wouldn't say Leviathan at this point, because Stingrays pretty much one-shot ships, and they have a reasonable fire rate.
Well, if you look at this, blue is sending a bunch of orcas, you know, We're gonna drop another one right here. I don't know if these orcas are gonna make it in time, mainly due to the graveyard that they have to push through, and the T2 factories do have a lot of health on them.
Yeah, something that White could do is move his commander out, of course, and use that to defend. Because it's so low in the water, the orcas are not going to be able to hit it very easily at all.
And he is at full health, and well, he might have to worry about the naval defenses. Those things, even though they're weak, the amount that blue does have here could become an issue for him.
Definitely. We see so much assisting, a few T2 fabbers coming out for Brown now, so he's going to get up some T2 economy and maybe even some fartillery as well.
Yeah, Brown is pretty much committed to this Kestrel play. You know, it's kind of all or nothing for him. I'm not sure how effective it's going to be. Brown might want to just, you know, base up a little bit and try and keep those Kestrels until, you know, he's only against one player. Let them weaken each other before he does anything. But look at those. Those Narwhals are going to deny those Kestrels. Not a good trade there. Narwhals are cheap and Kestrels are not.
Yeah, White there almost started losing health on his naval factory by default, because he didn't have anything assisting building it.
Brown can lose his advanced tech here if he's not careful. Those Narwhals are pretty much committed to this engagement.
Yeah, he can move his commander out and uber cannon those. He does not want to lose that factory, because if he does, he has pretty much nothing. Indeed, he is moving his commander out, so he's going to be able to make short work of those Narwhals.
There it goes. No uber cannon?
I suspect he probably doesn't have the energy because of all the assisting on that air factory. I doubt he has the energy capacity to actually use the uber cannon.
You know, if you look at Yellow's base, it actually is kind of really well defended here.
Definitely. He doesn't have all that many anti-naval defences on his northern border, though. On his southern one, definitely. But on his northern one against White and Light Blue, he definitely does not. But White's T2 Navy is finished. The Stingray is half completed now. So that's going to really produce a threat on the battlefield in a moment.
But against the Stingray, one of the main counters, if you can't get a catapult, is simply outnumber it. The Stingray has a very low amount of health on its hull, and if you can get anything anywhere close to it, it can easily be killed. But look at the amount of orcas coming up from Light Blue here. You could actually take it out before it even finishes if you... Oh, it's going to be close.
I don't think the Stingray is going to finish, because those orcas are managing to negotiate around the wreckages, and the naval factory wasn't repaired, I don't think.
No.
I think the Stingray's health bar is hiding the naval factory's health bar. He probably doesn't have very much left on it at all.
But even if that Stingray comes out right now, you know, against that many orcas, that Stingray is going to drop instantly, and it looks like White's kind of committed to this. If this doesn't happen for White, White's kind of out of this game. He is producing...
There goes the Stingray!
White's kind of GG at this point. The question is, where is his commander?
His commander's safe and sound in the middle of his base with a lot of anti-naval defences around him. So Light Blue's going to have a little bit of a tricky time actually attacking him. I think it might even come down to commander versus commander, because without submarines in the game at this point, it's going to be very hard to actually take out these commanders given the height range of the planet.
One of the things that I found in this map are really effective against commanders are those anti-naval defenses. Even though they are fairly weak, if you can get enough of them, they have a pretty long range and are fairly accurate, even with the curve of this planet. And second to that, it's going to be Narwhals. It seems none of the Tier 2 units can actually kill a commander at the bottom of this ocean.
Yeah, I mean, what might be wise is to go for T1 Air and Bumblebee spam, because Bumblebees, of course, drop their payload directly beneath them, and of course that can, of course, get the commander within the water. So that is an option, but there's so much anti-air in everybody's base now that it's going to be increasingly difficult. We might even see some nukes.
I'm not sure about nukes personally.
I mean, it's a goal.
In a position to get them?
I think the person most likely to at least go for some T2 artillery and or nukes, potentially I'd say Yellow, because if he manages to turtle up and get some T2 fabrication navy out, he can maybe get some T2 eco within his fortress here, and then get some catapults and or nukes within that while defending.
Yeah, but this game is kind kind of at a standstill right now. This has actually been a fairly slow game. Normally everyone would have advanced tech by now, but it seems people are playing quite aggressively, and they're able to deny these advanced techs. Does anyone even have one done by now? Oh, Yellow does.
Just finished it, yeah. His Stingray's about to come out. And that's gonna really be nasty on the battlefield, although has it glitched?
What I do worry about Yellow is he is kind of blocking himself in, and it's going to take a lot of maneuvering to get anything out of the base, but it looks like Brown is going to be under fire here.
I must say at this point I'm still surprised no one has gone for orbital units, because if you get in the sky you can get a lot of free eco and a good few cheesy aggressive skills going on as well.
You know, just to note, if we're going to do this again, we definitely need to adjust TeamSpeak, because even if I move my chair any bit, it just goes your volume. It tends to prioritize, you know, the client over anyone else.
Okay.
Oh, and look at that Stingray. It is cleaning up those Kestrels.
If he had the radar coverage and or the intel, he could target down the commander and get that thing killed instantly. He just needs to move over maybe an air scout or anything, but he doesn't have an air factory, so he's going to move in his narwhals if he wants to actually get the commander kill. But it looks as though purple versus brown is going to happen here.
I'm going to, at this point, officially call it against Brown. Brown is out of the run at this point. Whoa! Brown was trying to build a orbital launcher for some reason. Ooh, did you see that? Purple's commander was about to drop if he didn't pull that back.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't take him too much damage, but because he hasn't actually met the commander yet, but the Kestrels are there.
Kestrels are going to try and take it.
But there is a few too many narwhals for those Kestrels, who are, of course, got practically zero health. But the Stingrays and the narwhals are going to take out this T2 air factory now, which is going to leave Brown, suffice to say, excuse the pun, dead in the water.
This might be a double annihilation between Brown and Black here. Sorry, Brown and Purple. Purple does have... Oh, he was actually able to kill Purple, and Brown comes out of that alive.
Purple's definitely going to go down. It appears as though Max is transitioning to a couple of bumblebees now in with his hummingbird, so maybe he's going to actually use that. But Black has now got a naval presence. He's moving out with that towards the north. But Brown's commander is in the middle of nowhere, and with that amount of health, he does not want to be doing that.
Well, the only thing that can really kill that commander at this point is if he wanders too close to some anti-naval, or, you know, wanders across a narwhal or an orca. But at this point, Brown is kind of out of the game. Black does have some orcas in the area, but it looks like Brown is turning around.
White is coming under fire from Blue now. I think Blue's managed to sort of turtle and gradually push, but White really is falling behind as well.
At this point, unless something drastic happens, I want to give this game to Yellow.
Oh, definitely. Max is not teching up, he's not moving out enough, he's only sort of defending himself. I was in TeamSpeak with him earlier on the Realm TeamSpeak, and he keeps saying that he does find it difficult to manage all of his expansions, so he does sort of feel compelled and comfortable to sit tight. But Yellow moving out against Brown's desperate attempt to get some air out.
Yeah, you know, something I've said and said again, and this, you know, for some reason in this game, when a player is officially out of the running and just too far behind to make a difference anymore, they seem to try and stall as long as possible instead of just GGing and spectating the rest of the match like they should.
Oh, definitely. There is a little bit of that, but on these sort of games, I think, especially when there's streaming and whatnot, I think, you know, the stage presence is the thing.
Could definitely be happening here. But look at that Yellow. Oh, Yellow just took out Light Blue. Light Blue is out of this game. GG.
Yeah, there's lots of Stingrays now from Yellow, and if he moves them out in bulk, I believe there's about 4 or almost 5 Stingrays there, and that is going to absolutely obliterate any commander given intel. The White commander's moving towards Yellow's base, which isn't the best idea.
No, he's not.
Well, he moved out of the centre of his base. I assumed he was sort of going to maybe attack, but
you know, even though we can kind of say that Yellow is taking this game, what do you think Black is thinking at this point? He is trying to build an advanced air facility.
I fear for the success rate, especially given it's pretty much in range of those stingrays.
I mean, obviously this isn't going to succeed. There's really no play that yellow can't counter at this time. But what do you think Black's original plan was, assuming that thing didn't get killed?
I think if the T2 ad doesn't get killed, he might have gone for Hornets and tried to do some carpet bombing, but he does not have intel on anybody's base, so he doesn't know actually what they're building or what their defenses are, so any decision he made is not an informed one.
Yes, and without radar, these it is quite hard to deal with the stingrays, because the stingrays, even in a stingray against stingray engagement, stingrays for some reason have the tendency to focus on structures over units.
Yeah, definitely. That is strange. I mean, you do have to target them. I think a good mix or a good ratio is about 3 stingrays to 1 leviathan.
Yeah, leviathans are pretty beefy, and if they can lead the front, they can soak up any enemy stingray damage.
There's just so many stingrays now. There's just missiles going out from every direction of the base. White is going to start feeling the pressure as well, as is Brown, but Brown, I think, is just trying to desperately cling on for dear life here, getting up some anti-naval defenses. And an orbital launcher.
White's commander is at full health still over there.
Yeah, I'm curious
but
as
it looks
to
like
how
Yellow is
survived.
moving in. He's had enough of waiting. He just wants to finish this game and take the victory home. Who is Yellow? Sojobo. That's surprising. Like I said in the beginning of the game, Sojobo is a player that, you know, his whole strategy, his entire build is really around the ability to nuke from other planets and simply crash planets. He likes to be able to get a planet all to himself, and he suffers, as we've seen in the past, when he has to do, you know, army-based engagements, but he has definitely turned it around in this game.
Definitely. However, on the other side of the planet, we see 2 orbital launchers, one from White, one from Brown. So there's going to be potentially an orbital engagement. Especially Brown is going to get up into orbital, but he does not have any economic structures whatsoever, so it's going to take him a heck of a long time to do that.
Do you even think it really matters at this point? You know, if Sojobo lays claim to this planet, has things patrolling, doesn't see anything, you know, he's obviously gonna say, well, they're up in the air. He gets a deep space. He gets orbital platform launches Avengers quite quickly, especially with this advanced tech here. He can easily go toward advanced fab if he wants at this point.
I don't think Yellow even needs to do that. I think Brown's attempts are going to be very much in vain, because as I said, he doesn't have any eco, so getting out any orbital units whatsoever is going to take an age, by which point Yellow is going to have the planet.
Black looks like he's going to try and suicide in Yellow's face and take out that army with him.
The Stingrays need to target that commander, and boom!
There he goes. We only have 3 players left here, Sojobo and Yellow. White is EJK, and finally Lovely Mangoes is still just barely holding on at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say holding on, I'd say sort of...
running.
Yeah, definitely. But White's orbital launches up.
Like a molt technique, patent pending.
But Yellow's definitely going to turn all of his attention to White now, so White is going to fall. He has not got enough defense. He's getting out an Estrella, so he's going to try and hop his commander into that and get up into the orbital layers, just delaying the inevitable. So I think certainly White has accepted his defeat almost implicitly.
We actually have seen this from White before. We were on a all-land planet, and Sojobo was actually in red during this engagement, and EJK was going to be green, and what happened was green got taken out quite early, but he was able to ninja himself up in an stress and just hit over Sojobo's base, and eventually Sojobo finally realized that. He's like, no bro, not happening. He just took him out.
But here come the Narwhals and the Orcas now, so they're going to actually destroy what is left, and the Stingrays are getting in range as well. EJK says he's surprised he's still alive, but he's not going to be for very long.
No, he might be able to get this Estrella out. No, he simply does not have the energy to back a play like this.
Oh, definitely not. Even with all of that assisting, that Estrella is going to take a good minute and a half to complete, and he does not have that amount of time, especially if the Navy from Yellow just keeps moving in.
Well, he might if the Stingrays continue to bug up on that airfab.
Oh my goodness.
If you want want to be immune to scorpions? Just get a wall of air fabs.
I have not seen that before. I have not seen that bug. That's quite
Basically, what's
amusing.
happening is the scorpion is targeting the building unit, but when they get denied, the missiles have nowhere to go, and it starts back up, and it gets killed instantly. So the missiles just spiral out of control here.
I remember when
And
Nukes
Stress
did that
might
when they were
actually
first
complete
put
here,
in.
but he needs to pull that commander back if he wants to get it in before it drops.
I mean, even if the
Oh.
Astraeus comes down, there's I believe, no, there isn't a narwhal there, so there's no anti-air capabilities. If he gets a narwhal across, or
Stingray
even a
should
single
take it out.
hummingbird. Yeah, the Stingrays aren't close enough, though, are they?
Nope.
Ah,
but
the
it did
orbital
get
launch is
denied
gone.
anyway.
That
But
commander
there's
is
nothing,
toast.
it seems, that is able to kill that commander. Look at that. It is dodging all of those bullets.
It's because the height range of the planet is just so ridiculously massive. I mean, on naval planets, the height range you want is pretty close to zero. Otherwise, commanders can just sit and hide in the ocean, and nothing will hit them. Apart from, of course, the naval defences and stingrays.
Brown actually might get to orbit, but no. We do see a whole bunch of narwhals moving in from yellow here, and I mean like 10, 20, 30.
Oh wow, definitely. And those naval defences were not completed, so they're not even going to be doing anything. Yeah, I think this is the end of the game for brown and for white. Yellow taking the victory. Good game.
And unlike White's commander, who is, well, hiding like a mole full health right now, Brown's commander is at like 10%. It is actively taking damage from the narwhal front gun here. And this is about to be GG. There we go. Brown did get annihilated right there. Look at that. White's commander is just walking like a pro and annihilating everything else.
If he keeps moving, he might be able to get in a commander duel with yellow and maybe try and do some fight to the death here.
He took out a stingray. Oh, and he took out two.
I've gone into dynamic camera mode, so I'm looking up from under the
Actually,
water now.
now that I thought about EG and Sojo commonly play together. We've seen it happen in the past where they say, if we're, if one of us are gonna lose, we're gonna do a commander duel to the death. So that's actually might be what we're seeing. But the fact that he is putting army up and not, giving him the ability to engage his commander, he just probably doesn't care at this point and simply wants him dead.
Oh, definitely. He's trying to get off some Uber cannons, but of course, at this point, I definitely think... Oh, there's one coming in from yellow, but I think all he needs is a couple of bumblebees, and the commander will go down.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely denyingly inevitable.
Everyone's cheering for White. Well, not everyone, just Mangoes. Oh, here it goes. Look, here comes all of his narwhals. That will be able to finish the commander off.
Yeah.
Right here. White now. GG from White. Yellow's going to take the victory. I want to put a question up to chat right here. Do we continue dual casting, or is it better solo?
I'm not sure what your TeamSpeak settings are like, so maybe that has a factor.
Here, let's take a look at that.
But thanks for having me nonetheless. And thanks for watching, folks.
Mangoes.